bail hearing of a Johannesburg pupil Bafana Mahungela accused of killing a teacher, Kirsten Clates, has been postponed to the 29th of December for the court to finalize the matter. Zola Shalwana has been attending developments throughout the course of the day. Let's start with the state building its case earlier on today. Zola Shalwana, what did we hear from the prosecutor?
Well, Dudu, you'd understand that today was basically a continuation of what was happening yesterday, where the state was given an opportunity to continue presenting its case, as you'd understand that the defense kept on claiming that they do not have a watertight case. So today they presented two affidavits or statements, one from a security officer from 24/7 who works at a park where the deceased body was found. Another one is an investigative officer from the SAPS. Basically, they read out those statements with the investigative officer also claiming and alleging that based on the events or what what they saw from CCTV footage and also statements that they've collected, he confirms and alleges that Bafana Mahungela is the one that is responsible for the murder of the deceased. Now, another statement that was actually presented or read out by the state's prosecutor was from a security guard who a security officer who was actually responsible for the control room, and also mentioned that they collected evidence looking at CCTV footages from different cameras that are surrounding the premises where the body was found, and of course he did not come up with any conclusions. Now, the defense then came and rebutted what was presented by the state's prosecutor, saying that the investigative officer was very bold and brave to actually allege that their client is responsible for the murder based on the series of events or what has been stated on the statement. So it was really about that, and obviously at this point the defense is not convinced by the statements that have been brought forward by those two people that have brought forward their affidavits, and they are saying that they will continue defending their client, because they are saying they still maintain to do that. The only crime that they believe that their client is guilty of at this point is obviously taking clothes and belongings of the deceased. You might have heard Bafana actually admitting yesterday that indeed he took the t-shirt and he wore it and also shoved other clothing items in the drain, and he does not believe that that is a serious offense. So is his legal team at this point. So the matter has been postponed to the 29th of December so that the state can actually get more time to work on their story and their case and present the matter better.
The state yesterday, Zola Shalwana, said they have two dockets, one from the investigating officer, one from a private investigator. The information from a private investigator, was it read onto the record, and what has that revealed?
Well, the information from the private investigator, was not read out today before court. We assume that it will be read out on the next session, which is going to be the 29th, given that there will be more time. And also the defense was complaining about the fact that they are not satisfied with the fact that the state has been presenting new evidence every time, they come before court. They would like to also, be informed about what will be brought before court, so that they are prepared and also everything, is conducted, smoothly. And what I can also tell you, Dudu, is that the family members of Bafana Mahungela are quite confident that their son will be let go in no time. We saw their reaction in court and how they were pleased with how the defense, was rebutting on the statements or affidavits that were read out earlier on, and they are actually saying that really the state does not have a case in this regard after they're listening to the statements and also a series of events, that have been brought before court so far.
At some point in time, the state prosecutor mentioned yesterday, and something he mentioned again today. Yesterday, he said that Bafana Mahungela was within 100-meter distance from the victim, and today they said that their walkings, or rather their movements, were a minute and some few seconds apart. How so?
Well, they mentioned that based on CCTV footage that they have actually looked at, but the defense then, rebutted that and said Bafana was there for other reasons, and as someone that didn't even know the teacher or the lady that was part of the run in this regard. And that's where then the state actually, then saw something like a loophole that they think it has to be looked at in terms of, the time frames as to when Bafana made his way to the park, when he was on his phone. Those are the finer details that the court is actually looking at right now to really check if there's any possibility that he could possibly be linked to the murder of the deceased.
Will the state be using the CCTV footage or still photographs?
Well, at this point, the state will be using photographs that have been taken. But of course, if the matter then continues further and they are required to present a much stronger case or a watertight case, then it will mean that they will explore other avenues of trying to provide, evidence that could possibly convince the court that Bafana Mahungela is not fit to be granted bail. As you'd understand that at this point, the defense is saying that the only, charge amongst the three charges that were mentioned, one of them being, murder and robbery, the only one that they could possibly look at is, robbery, in a sense that he took, a clothing item, but he did not take other valuable items like a cell phone and also car keys and all other ones. You'd understand to do. An autopsy report was released yesterday where they mentioned that the deceased did not show any signs of being sexually violated, which then raises a question to say, is the charge still intact? The charge of a rape, and of course nothing was really said about that yesterday in terms of, the charge being removed or, still remaining intact. And I believe that we'll hear more about that on the 29th of December.
Were reasons furnished as to why the 29th?
Well, of course, this is to give the state more time to actually, do their work and also, bring more evidence if there has to be more evidence that has to be presented before court, because they are not satisfied with what has been happening at this point with how the defense is able to rebut, their statements and affidavits that have been brought forward. The defense is also requires that there should be other people that are brought forward before court, so that at least they can then justify and say their matter is watertight. But failure to do that, then the defense will continue actually objecting most of their statements that have been presenting before court, that they are stating as evidence that they think is enough to put Bafana behind bars.
Zola, before we let you go, there was a tense moment between the defense advocate of Bafana Mahungela as well as the state prosecutor. Something about the state prosecutor not being in the room when a certain meeting was being had about the CCTV footage. What was that about?
Well, there's been a bit of commotion between the defense and the state prosecutor. Today was the fourth appearance of Bafana at Alexandra Magistrates Court, and we've been seeing a bit of tension between the two. And we are told that there isn't proper communication between the two teams, in a sense that the defense was complaining about the fact that the state prosecutor is not working well in terms of informing them or furnishing them about information prior to the appearance, so that they are also on the same level, because they've been complaining that they get surprised by information and statements or affidavits that are brought before court on that particular day, which does not give them enough time to actually peruse as well and be able to rebut with their facts.
Zola Shalwana, thank you very much for that comprehensive debrief.